Hi folks, hope you are doing great. In this video, I'm going to talk about how to use a curl script to create an OAuth 2.0 service provider in WSO2 Identity Server. If you hear about WSO2 Identity Server for the first time, it's an open source identity and access management product released under the most business-friendly Apache 2 license. You can download the product from wso2.com, then go to products, and then identity and access management. The latest version at the time of recording is Identity Server 5.3.0, and even at this moment we are almost ready to release IS 5.4.0, and for this particular demo I am using Identity Server 5.3.0. Once you download the product, you only need to have JDK 1.8 plus in your environment, and also you need to set up the Java home environment variable. Once you do it, you can go to Identity Server home directory. It is WSO2 IS 5.3.0. Then go to bin directory. Then start the server with WSO2 server.sh file. Okay. It will take around 40 to 50 seconds in my machine to get started, and it will start on default HTTPS port 9443. If you need, you can change the port to anyone you need by editing the file repository conf carbon XML and change the value of offset. And Identity Server comes with a default user store, that's an LDAP server. But in a production deployment, you can deploy it over a database, LDAP server, or even an Active Directory. Okay, server got started. Now I can log into the management console with the URL https localhost 9443. Right. Then I can log in with the default admin credentials, admin. So these credentials are coming from the embedded LDAP server. And once you log in, if you want to create an OAuth 2.0 service provider, the way you do it from the management console is you first need to go to service providers, add, let's say OAuth app, register. Then you need to go to inbound authentication configuration, click on OAuth OpenID Connect configuration, then configure. And then you need to do the callback URL, and you need to pick what are the grant types you need to support. That's it. Then add, and also if you want to do any claim configuration, you can do it from here. Right. So I have done a few tutorials on creating a service provider. I'll share those links in the description of this video. Okay, so now this is how you create a service provider in Identity Server. Okay, so I have another service provider created already. Let me delete both the service providers. And now I am going to create a service provider using my curl script. You don't need to log into the management console. You can do it externally through Identity Server APIs. Okay. So this is very useful when you let's say if you have a Docker-based deployment of Identity Server and you need to create these service providers on the fly when you spin up the server. So that way you can automate everything and distribute the Docker instance with anyone in your team who are working on active development. So you don't need to document anything like this is how you log into the Identity Server, this is how you create service provider. Everything can be automated using the curl scripts. Okay. So let me go to my curl scripts. You can download all the curl scripts I am using in this demo from my GitHub location. This is my GitHub repo, and you don't need to copy this one. Remember this one, I'll put this link to the video description. Then you need to go to curl scripts, and all the scripts I am going to use in this demo are under SP directory. Okay. So you can download this repo from here. Go to RTOL. You can download this as a zip file or just do a git clone. Okay. I have already downloaded these scripts. They are here. Now let's see how we can create an OAuth application using the cURL script. You need to run this OneNo script first. Let me run it first. Okay. This will create an OAuth application. Okay. So let me show you the script. Yeah. So this is the script, right? So you need to give a username and password. This username and password, they are picked from the env.sh file. Okay. So that means first, before running any of these scripts, you need to source that file. Right. So I have already done that. You need to source that file. Then all these environment variables will get loaded into the shell environment. So you need to have a username and password here. This user should have the right to create a service provider in the identity server, and this is the identity server endpoint, host name and the port. Okay. Then if you look at this first script, create OAuth app, you can see I am using the username and password from the environment, and also I am loading the identity server endpoint from the environment. So you don't need to edit this script, and I am doing a post to this particular endpoint, right? And I use the data from this script, create OAuth app.xml. Let's have a look at that script. It's under the data directory. So here you can see I am passing all the data I need. The OAuth app version should be this one. Then you can give any name here, OAuth app name, and then your callback URL, client ID and client secret. This you can pick whatever the values you need. And these are the grant types we support out of the box. You can pick any of these grant types, and you can see they are separated by a space. Then if you want Pixie to be mandatory, then you can set this to true. And if you want Pixie support plain text support for Pixie without using SHA-256, then you can set this to true or else to false. Okay. So these are the parameters that you can change. Now once we create the OAuth app with the script, it should be in the identity. We should be able to see it from the management console. But the way the identity server service providers are working, first you need to create an OAuth application, then you need to create a service provider and then link that OAuth app to that particular service provider. You won't see this when you create from the management console, because everything happens behind the scene. But since you are using this script, if you follow the numbers, then you will be able to get it created in the proper order. Okay, so we just created the OAuth app using OneNo, and if you want to see that app, you can just run the script 1.2, right? So this will get the OAuth application, right? So this is the OAuth application we just created. You can see all the data related to that. Okay, and there are some other applications too. And there are some other curl commands too. So 1.2 is get to OAuth app, and if you want to update the OAuth app, you can use 1.1 update OAuth app, right? So let's have a look at 1.2 first, get to OAuth app. So you need to pass username and password again here, and then I am using the get OAuth app.xml. Get OAuth app.xml. So I just need to pass the client ID. Okay, then it will return you back the details of the application. The next one is update OAuth app. Here I am passing the username and password, and I am using the update OAuth app.xml. You look at update OAuth app.xml, you can see the same set of data we used before when we create the OAuth app, and make sure you should use same client ID and client secret you used before when you created the OAuth app, right? You cannot update client ID and client secret in this request, right? So once you create the client ID and client secret, you cannot update the client ID and client secret using this update cURL script, but you can update any of the other stuff. Okay. Yeah. Then again, when you create the OAuth app, you can set the client secret, but after that you cannot change it. If you want to change it, then you need to delete and create it again. But you can ask identity server to regenerate it. So then you don't have the control, but identity server will have the control, and it will create its own client secret following its own algorithm. Right. So if you just want to regenerate the client secret, you can use this particular cURL script. It's 1.3, right? And I am using the data from the regen OAuth secret. Yeah. So this is the one you need to use. So just pass the client ID to this script, then it will regenerate the client secret from the identity server side. Then again, one other thing, if you go back to the create OAuth app XML, if you don't pass client ID and client secret in your request, then identity server will internally generate both client ID and client secret for you. Maybe we can try it out. Let's remove these two elements, and we need to make sure the application name is unique, since we already have created an OAuth app with this name. Let's rename this to app2 and save it, and let's go back and run the script, the first script, right? Okay, so this created an OAuth app for you. Since we don't know the client ID now, we need to use this script to retrieve the app details, right? So this is called get OAuth app by name. So the get OAuth app script will get you the app by client ID. This script will get you the app by app name, right? So let me show you that XML2 get OAuth app by name. You just need to give the OAuth app name there. Here, since you are using OAuth app name 2, let's update this one. Yeah, name 2. Now if I run 1.5, okay, here you can see the generated client secret and also the generated client ID. Okay, this is the consumer key and this is the consumer secret. Okay, so both are generated for you by the identity server. Now let's see the update script. Right, so if you want to update anything, then let me show you that XML. Update OAuth app. You must use the same client ID and client secret, right? And then you can change any other values, right? So here you can see I have changed the callback URL for the client ID and client secret for the OAuth app name. So even you can change the app name too if you want. So let me run this script. It's 1.1. Okay, now if you do again, so we updated the first app, right? Now we can retrieve that from the get OAuth app using the client ID. Yeah, so this is the app we just updated, and you can see the callback URL being updated, right? Before that it was this one. Now it got updated. Okay, now you can try to regenerate the OAuth client secret too. Let's do that for the second app. Regenerate one secret. So here we need to do the client ID. Let me get the client ID from the first one. This is the client credentials, consumer key. This is a consumer key. Let's copy that and put it here. Okay, now this is the script regenerate, yeah, 1.3. Okay. If I run this one, okay, it regenerated me. Then now I can get the application by name, that is 1.5. Okay, so now this is a new client secret, right? So let's see what was the previous one. This was the previous client secret. Right here, if you paste this here, you can see they are different, right? So you got the client secret regenerated. Okay. So now, so far what we did was just created an OAuth application. We didn't create a service provider. Okay. So now we need to create a service provider from the API, and then we need to link that service provider to the OAuth application. When you do everything from the management console, you won't notice anything. Everything will happen behind the scene. But when you do it from the cURL through the API, then you need to follow this particular order. First, you create an OAuth application, right? Now you need to create a service provider. Okay, so this is the script to create a service provider. It's 2.0 create service provider. Right? You need to give the username and password, and here it uses create SP XML. Here you only need to pass the basic information, a name and a description. Okay. So let's create that. Okay, it created me the service provider, and if you want to get the service provider information with the default settings, you can do that too. It's using the script to get SPSH, and this is the XML. You just need to pass the app name. Okay. Yeah. So this is the complete configuration for that particular service provider with the default settings. Now we create an OAuth application, and now we created service provider. Now to link that OAuth application to the service provider, we need to update the service provider, right? So this is the update script, and this is the update update SP. That's right. So here one thing you need to notice here is, so this application ID, right? So this is, since this is my first service provider, when we create the service provider from the cURL, identity server will internally generate the application ID for that application, and here it will be 1, right? But if you want to create more applications, then what you can do is you create an application, and then you run this script to get the SP, and here in this message you can find the application ID, right? So you just need to copy it and update this script, right? Then you can see here I am adding set of requested claims. So the same thing you can do from the UI, and you can do from this curl command, right? You can add any number of claims, and the description, and under the inbound authentication config, this is how you link OAuth app to the service provider. Here you need to give the client ID. This should match with the exact client ID we gave before, and then inbound OAuth type should be OAuth 2, and then the value of this OAuth consumer secret property should be client secret. Okay, so this will match whatever the values we have in create OAuth tab, right? So yeah, so this should be this one. Okay, so I'll just revert the changes I did before. Right, this should match whatever the values. Whatever the values here should match whatever the values in the create OAuth tab XML. Okay. So since I already have an app with client ID and client secret, I can leave these values as they are here. So that's mostly it. You can go through the other stuff, like everything that you do from the UI, it should appear here. And also make sure the username here, it should match the username that you use to authenticate to the API, the username in the env.sh file. Okay. Yeah. So that's it. Now let's see how we can run this script. If we just run for update sh, okay, now this link my service provider to the OAuth application. Let's log into the UI and see whether we can find that. If we go to service providers list, here you can see the service provider I just created using my cURL script. Edit, and under claim configuration I should find these two requested claims, and under inbound authentication configuration, OAuth OpenID Connect configuration. So these are my client ID and client secret, and if you edit it, you can find the callback URL and all the other configurations related to OAuth. So this app got created from our very first script, OneNow cURL script. Okay. So that is how you can use these cURL scripts to create an OAuth 2.0 service provider in Identity Server. And if you want to delete this service provider, you can just run the script file delete SPSH. Okay. Now if you go back here, you won't see the service provider. It got deleted, and when you delete the service provider, it will also delete the OAuth application. Okay. I think we covered all these scripts here, and you can find all of them in my GitHub repo. If you have any questions, just leave a comment under the comment section below this video. Thank you very much.